I'm Eddie Muller, here at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland, California. Welcome to Noir Alley, where for the first time ever, we offer a student film as our featured presentation. From 1955, this is Killer's Kiss. And let me clarify, 26-year-old director Stanley Kubrick was still learning how to make films when he shot this movie in 1954. There weren't schools for it yet. He scraped together a minuscule budget of $75,000 to make Killer's Kiss, an inventive, kinetic, and admittedly amateurish tribute to two of his great inspirations, film noir and his hometown of Manhattan. The story, a boxer's affair with a mobster's woman puts them both in peril, serves as a springboard for a young filmmaker showing off his skills as a director, cameraman, and editor. The narrative is nothing more than the familiar noir triangle, but it's really just an excuse for Kubrick to transfer his unique pictorial style to movie making. Using a largely non-professional cast, shooting in actual locations, often without synchronized sound, and limited to 100-foot rolls of film and a portable IMO camera, Kubrick crafted the first amateur movie to get worldwide distribution. Killer's Kiss was the calling card for a director who'd eventually be considered one of the visionaries of world cinema. Kubrick was something of a prodigy. While still a teenager, he became a staff photographer for Look, the most popular photography-based magazine in America. Like another New Yorker of the era, Arthur Fellig, a.k.a. Ouija, Kubrick's photos were cinematic, often suggesting complex stories within a static image. Images Kubrick often staged for maximum effect. He was also a huge movie fan, with a fondness for crime pictures, which weren't called film noir when he was absorbing their visual allure on initial release. The influence is obvious in Kubrick's early photos. His most attention-getting feature for Look was a 1949 photographic essay about middleweight boxer Walter Cartier, which he later expanded into a documentary called Day of the Fight. The film was bought by RKO Pathé in 1951 for its This Is America documentary series, distributed to theaters. Kubrick's first feature was Fear and Desire, released in 1953. That he'd attempt a war movie on a budget of only $10,000 speaks volumes about his ambition and bravado. These early films were handmade indie productions, financed with donations from family friends, and made with significant contributions from two of Kubrick's classmates at New York's Taft High School, Howard Sackler and Alexander Singer. While neither attained Kubrick's renown, both went on to successful careers. Sackler won a Pulitzer Prize for his play The Great White Hope, and his screenplays include Gray Lady Down, St. Jack, and an uncredited rewrite on Jaws. Alexander Singer directed hundreds of television shows in a career that spanned Dr. Kildare to Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So Killer's Kiss kick-started more careers than just Stanley Kubrick's. One of those is composer Gerald Freed, a native New Yorker who'd studied at the Juilliard School of Music. An accomplished oboist, Freed composed his first film score for The Day of the Fight, and he'd provide the music for all of Kubrick's films in the 1950s, including The Killing and Paths of Glory. After that, he'd relocate to Hollywood and compose scores for hundreds of movies and TV shows. He'd share an Emmy Award with Quincy Jones for the score to the epic 1977 miniseries Roots. Now, I point all this out for two reasons. First, when it comes to making movies, it is never a one-man show, even with a do-everything auteur like Stanley Kubrick. And it's always interesting to see greatness in its gestation phase, when nothing comes easily and artists have to be resourceful and resilient. If this film feels disjointed, it is. Kubrick began working up the story, originally entitled Kiss Me, Kill Me, with Howard Sackler, hoping his writer pal could construct a coherent narrative from disparate scenes Kubrick was eager to direct. Montages of Manhattan at night, a grueling boxing match, a balladic interlude, and a brutal fight in a mannequin factory. Although he was a visionary, at this stage Kubrick knew nothing about sound. After shooting everything in a blaze of creative energy, he spent the next 10 months and most of his modest budget building the entire soundtrack from scratch. since he'd had no clue how to properly record sound on sets or on location. Starring Jamie Smith as the boxer, Frank Silvera as the gangster, and Irene Kane as the taxi dancer, here is 67 minutes of genius in development. Killer's Kiss.